Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday, September 11th, 2022. Pardon the glare here on the right side of my eye. My shade broke during this heat wave, and I'm being pummeled with sunshine during this wonderfully cool weather. Not. How's everybody this morning? Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Small Wildflowers. Good morning, Just Call Me C. Good morning, Katerina. Oh, guys, I gotta tell you, it really feels like the transits are making themselves known in very powerful ways lately. So let's do a quick little recap of what's going on right now. We have the moon conjunct Jupiter today. The moon is in Aries and conjunct Jupiter. It made me feel as if people will be very inflamed. And I don't know if it's the weather here where I am. And I got to say, for those of you that live in the South that put up with this humidity and this heat all the time, God bless you. Because I have been literally miserable. Poor Lucky, he's like, but I want to say this because I feel as if when I look at this, the moon will be in Aries for, not very long. But the moon is in opposition to Mercury while it is conjunct Jupiter. So there's this feeling of being fired up about the bigger picture and having some neighborhood person, somebody in my community, or even listening to the news or emails or media or Twitter, just feel opposing in some way. And when I say opposing, I mean as if thinking about the big picture, having that mercurial energy keep saying, why, how? And I don't know if the why or the how is really going to be known at this moment, because I feel as if part of the big ascension here is the awareness of our mind and how our thoughts create our experiences, or at least co-create them. So here we have Jupiter, the planet of philosophical thought, of broad concepts, of humanity. I want to say humanitarian because it's always about the bigger picture, about everybody. And then there's Mercury that's like, well, how are we going to implement that in our everyday life? And I think this is a little bit about what's the theme going on here. And we have Saturn and Uranus coming into that tight square. Saturn's now 19 degrees retrograde. I'm pretty sure that Uranus, let me check, is stationed at 18. Oh, hold on. I need to look at the chart. Yes, right now Uranus is at 18, and that still, the other thing I wanted to mention when we talk about this Uranus-Saturn square, we really don't bring the North Node into the picture, but it really should be, because it's been hanging out with Uranus for a while. And while they're 4 degrees apart, we're starting to get a little bit of a respite. The voracious energy of the North Node, the sort of taking no prisoners energy of the North Node, is still going to have an effect. It almost feels like certain points or certain planets and points within the stars, because they have such a fiery, such a voracious, such a big energy, that their orbs almost feel like they expand a little bit. They don't kind of taper off quite as easily. So I think that's important to pay attention to, is what are my bigger beliefs, and how is my mind, how is my everyday experiences interrupting my opportunity to expand, my opportunity to enjoy more wealth and ease as a result of the shifting of my thought. And I want to offer this too, because I feel as if the shifting of my thought is not about trying to be perfect. It's more an awareness of an old habitual habit, because here we see Saturn representing history, representing structure, representing government and authority, and in some ways rules that are not necessarily my own, but rules I have to adhere to in order to walk through my everyday life and thrive, or survive for that matter. And there's Uranus with this kind of lightning-like, electric, rebellious energy. So here we're going to see this, I think, between the Jupiter and I want to say this too, because the moon is only going to be around Jupiter for a moment, but at the same time, we have Chiron in Aries. So as soon as the moon moves past Jupiter, it's going to hit Chiron retrograde. So I feel like the next couple of days could, in many ways, bring this awareness of an evolved version, an expanded version of yourself, and still having to adapt or apply the everyday life to this aspect. And I want to offer this as well, because I've noticed something in my body changing. And I know I'm aging, blah, blah, blah. But I feel as if the more I am engaged in the energy and the more I submerge myself in the vibrations of the laws of the universe, the more my physical body does not adapt or adhere very well to foods, to drink, to stimuli that doesn't serve a bigger picture. So let me tell you what happened to me on Friday night. Friday night, I decided to have a little bit of steak and broccoli for dinner. And then it's so hot here that I decided to buy some pistachio almond ice cream. Made me sicker than a dog. I was so sick yesterday from the dairy that I couldn't even believe that I had such an incredible reaction to it. And this is unusual for me because I'm the kind of gal that can pop a pint of ice cream down, nobody's business. But I've been very mindful lately, last couple of years, of my vibration, of what are my thoughts, how are they supporting a bigger picture of what I want, what are the transits doing that offer me opportunities to really examine. And I was shocked because I have walked through this whole COVID thing without any issues whatsoever. And between the headache, the chills, I mean, I don't know, I feel like I got food poisoning, and I don't know where that would have come from because everything I ate, I made except for the ice cream. So I just want to offer it this way, because first we're going to see ourselves experiencing this Aries moon kind of fired up. Then we put Jupiter in the mix. Then we look at the opposition to Mercury. And then as the moon moves into Taurus, and these things happen every month, there may be this frustration. And then I want to sort of comfort myself with food or drink. And I think we just need to be mindful of the vibration of those things. I just feel as if the more aware we become, the more engaged in our co-creation and our intention in that co-creation, the more we're going to see that there are foods and stimuli and things that we are used to that no longer resonate. They just don't work. I remember years ago when I was studying with Doreen Virtue, this woman said that, you know, when she started to really connect with spirit, she couldn't drink caffeine anymore, that every time she drank caffeine, it made her sick. And so I just want to offer this because if you're feeling off, I don't know if any of you are experiencing this hurricane weather here in California, or if you're, you know, engaged in things outside, environmental influences, media stimuli, whatever could be making you hot. I think it's a little bit about stepping back and looking and saying, okay, how do I participate in cooling myself down? Where are some of my habits maybe contributing to my frustration? Because I do think that on some level, the aspects are kind of weird this week because they feel mostly related to this idea of the Mercury and Jupiter opposition this week. Because again, here we have what rules my everyday activities with in opposition to the ideals that I'd like to implement in the world. I always think that my 9-degree Taurus moon is idealistic. And sometimes I've been accused of, in my readings, not in a negative way, but of being idealistic. And this is where I started to engage more into the laws of attraction, because I don't like feeling vulnerable to, or vulnerable is not the right word. I don't like someone to tell me a no unless I have had the opportunity to try. You know, I don't want to be a naysayer. I want to be let's try first and then we'll work on it later. Because what I've learned is that, and especially lately. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to tell you. Yesterday, I had a woman call me. This is the second time in 2 weeks. And in the almost 9 years I've worked for myself, only twice has somebody called me and said, will you give me a free reading? And I was like, what? I'm not giving you a free reading. Not to be mean or anything, but just random people from across the world. And then when I say I can't do that and I've got to go, they just keep talking. And yesterday, I thought to myself, how am I co-creating these experiences? Where is my vibration within all of this? And so I just want to offer you this week, be gentle with yourself as I think you become more aware of this sort of roller coaster of manifesting on a higher vibration, on something that really feels like you're sort of kicking on all cylinders. And then maybe there's a little bit of something that feels like it's pulling away and it's not necessarily moving, and it could feel very contrary. And so I feel as if the best that we can do is to step back from frustration and see if spirit can offer us an opportunity to open a door, I guess is the way I want to say it. So that's kind of how I was feeling, because the way I interpreted the whole, can I have a free reading from random people was, where's my vibration? Am I hitting some sort of skids somewhere? I've got the South Node on Mercury right now, my natal Mercury. And I've thought about that because God bless Juan, but he disappeared, unceremoniously. And I think that's so South Node over Mercury because he's a Virgo. And I've had a little paranoia that small wildflower is going to disappear on me too. But I'm holding a higher vibration and we'll all stick together here as things ebb and flow, because they do ebb and flow. And we get to remember that. So, all right, let's go into our readings today. I feel a little out of body, so please bear with me as I try to pull myself together. All right, let's start with Virgo. Oh, wow, look at this. There's the Emperor. The Emperor rules Aries. You can see the rams everywhere. The Emperor is a wonderful energy of nurturing. I kind of think of it a little like King Arthur. It's a loving, good. I'm glad. And you take those breaks whenever you need them. The Emperor is a loving energy, but also a very inspired energy. To me, the Emperor is the higher vibrations of what we consider to be Aries. Rather than the warrior, it feels as if I only go to war if necessary, if I have weighed the pros and the cons and I have found myself. So I'm going to go into this idea of the brave one, going in with a conscious intention versus unconsciousness. So let's see what we want to say for Virgo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Because Mercury, your ruling planet, in opposition to Jupiter, could very much make you feel as if there is a conflict between the ideals of what you want to experience and what's happening in your everyday life. And there may be a call to action to be a peaceful warrior in asserting yourself towards the higher ideal, the Jupiterian ideal. And while we're in a Mercury retrograde, and yesterday was the full moon in Pisces, which I thought was very interesting because, again, here I literally feel like ice cream killed me. And Neptune rules spirituality. And if what I'm eating isn't fueling my spirituality, maybe that's what was going on. But this is what I want to say. Because Virgo, maybe this is about not necessarily taking direct action, but starting to flesh out an ideal of what you want to experience in your everyday life that is an elevated experience. And part of your opportunity is, rather than try to figure out the process, because Virgo is going to be process oriented, it's going to be more analytical. Maybe this is an opportunity to just use your self-talk to be inspiring, because Aries can be very inspiring and passionate about what's moving forward, and then engage spirit to start to give you signs and omens that that's indeed being lined up for you. So here we go. And if I start melting during this broadcast, please forgive me, because I literally feel like the Wicked Witch of the West, and at any moment I could just reduce into a puddle of sweat. All right, our first angel is the Shanti, the angel of peace, Virgo. The second is Bridget, looking deeper into a situation. Astera is about reaching for the stars, and Aurora is about ascension, and not to let not to let the mercurial mind mess with you, because I want to offer this. I think some of the most powerful people to influence others are those that have walked a very human path. So, for instance, Virgo being very dependable by nature, being very practical, being an earth sign, and being very of service to others. So now we see your own inspirations starting to bring a sense of peace as you start to look deeper into where your thoughts have put you in an obligatory energy. I must do that for this person. They expect me to. Now I reach for the stars with my dreams and my desires, and I actually tell Spirit, this is what I'd like to experience. I'd like to move forward in this direction. And then Aurora's about initially throwing people off, because it says you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, but don't descend, because you will soon inspire them. And I think the inspiration comes from people experiencing Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums as that dependableness, and then seeing them sort of apply those same attributes to their own lives versus just being of service to others. And that's where the inspiration comes. So Shanti wants you to feel at peace as you move in a new direction and you really engage Spirit. This feels very Jupiterian to me, very Sagittarius. So as I turn over some of my frustrations, and because, it's hard to move the story forward in a Mercury retrograde, and there's other aspects that might make it a little more challenging, hence the opposition between your ruling planet and Jupiter, which are natural oppositions in the wheel. But they're also, to me, there's a balance to be had as we put these two things together. So where does Spirit want you to look deeper, Virgo? Are you telling the story of your history, or are you telling the new story? The buried rules history, but it also rules the enchantment of storytelling. And I always kind of see the buried as the jester who is dancing, telling a fanciful story that everybody wants to believe. Astera is being joined by another version of Aries, the fire fairy, inspiration, and also optimism. And I want to offer it this way, because Virgo, sometimes if you can't see the path of how I'm going to get there, it trips you up a little bit. So I think that's where you have an opportunity during this week, as we experience this opposition with both Mercury and Jupiter retrograde, to review how much are you giving life to letting Spirit start to bring in situations and experiences that then inspire your action versus you trying to figure out how to take action. And then we have Merlin, alchemy, justice, and balance, being joined by Aurora. I think this is super powerful because I want to offer this. I think sometimes, and this might be why I'm such a fan of Capricorn as well, I think the earth signs, really represent the physical experience, and the physical experience is is viewed by the human in a very narrow way, meaning what I see, what I've experienced is how I judge my today and my tomorrow. And I think that this is really an opportunity for Virgo to start to judge their tomorrow by a new version of today. That today, whatever restriction is here, whatever feels tight, whatever feels uncomfortable, is actually serving to pop things open. And sometimes we don't really get motivated until we're frustrated. And that motivation being a frustration to move our story forward. Okay. All right, let's go on to our Libras. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Sean. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Vasilia. Hi, Scarred Owl. I said hi to Melissa. I said hi to Cece Pups, Lauren K, Flamingo 2. Just call me C. Welcome, everybody. Okay. It's kind of funny, I was reading on the on Facebook yesterday something about some transits that were going on. You know, the algorithm always catches your interests and starts putting things on your feed. And at 60, almost 3 years old, I realized I've been through a lot of these transits without knowing it. And as I'm aware of the transits, it's instilled something in me that really is kind of feels like a fight or flight feeling. The last time I went through a Scorpio Taurus South Node, North Node transit, I lost everything I own, literally everything I own. And at the same time, that cleansing of those old things were also the manure that was about to lead me to live so close to the ocean and to be able to live in Laguna Beach for almost 20 years now. It was 19 years ago on September 19th that I moved into this place. And so I've wrestled as I've been observing the transits, the squares between the square between Uranus and Saturn and the various other long-term transits. What is going to happen to me? And I feel like that question in and of itself is disempowering. What do I intend to happen to me? Because I guess in my observation of what I experienced the last time I went through this transit, and I don't remember the first time, I was probably a child, but I feel like as I have an intention, then I can use these transits to their highest vibration. The North Node, and I know I'm kind of jetting off for a minute, but bear with me. The North Node in Taurus, we talk about it being a ravenous point. It can be a little manipulative to get what it wants in its lower vibration. But when we look at past lives and we're studying that chart, we look at the South Node as a more erosive energy, like kind of bad habits that we perpetrate and then bring into this life, or I should say maybe restrictive habits where we don't let ourselves open up. And then the North Node represents what we're stretching for, a higher vibration, what we want to experience. So there's really kind of this weird way of defining the nodal structure. It's very polarizing. On one level, we're stretching for that. And then at the same time, we're a little manic and crazy about living whatever the North Node is. So I think what we're looking at in these transits right now is how do we use these things in balance? How do we pay attention to our greatest yearnings, what we're craving to live and experience, and at the same time, how can we apply this in an egoless way? I don't want to always look at the South Node as being some sort of a loss, because when I look at the idea of 19 years ago, I lost every single thing I had amassed in 40 years of my life. It was devastating at the time. And at the same time, all of those belongings carried a vibration of victimhood for me. And if I had had the washer and the dryer and all those other things that I'd had, I never would have fit into this apartment, and I would have looked at things in a very kind of a 3D way. So I want to stretch this for you. I want you to start to look at the South Node, not as erosive, but where can I be egoless to my bigger picture of what I want to experience, and where am I willing to kind of let go of some things, even if it feels hard initially, because it's opening up a bigger space for me. I never in a million years thought that I would be able to live by the beach for a third of my life. And I'm doing it on my own. I'm not living here with my parents or with a husband or with somebody who's co-creating material resources. So I have to get to remember that if I have a vibration to be able to do this, even though the transits are messing with my mind right now, and Jupiter and Mercury's opposition is messing with my mind right now, I have a momentum going. All right, I hope that made sense. My brain feels very fried lately. All right, Libra. Our card is the Three of Swords. This is not an easy energy. In the traditional tarot, this will represent a betrayal, a heartbreak, obviously. It's not I want to offer it this way because it looks terrible when you initially look at it. But if you look at the heart, the swords are not jagged. The cuts are clean. There's an illumination being offered as those swords are piercing the heart. And I want to offer this way because the 3 is the cardinal energy of the swords. So we're looking at the Libra energy. We're looking at cardinal air and how am I participating in my own unhappiness? Or am I hanging on to a heartache that is really serving a higher purpose? There's a little feeling of a line of thought somehow. Libra is experiencing the Mercury retrograde right now. And it may be a review of your relationships, not just your intimate relationships, but your friendship relationships, your professional relationships. And there may be a sense of feeling unseen or not valued. Again, I kind of want to go, since we're talking in a large group, Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, I don't know that this has to be a heart, this isn't broken in half. So am I in some level been contributing and mentally through my line of thought to my own heartache? When that woman called me yesterday, and then I told her 3 times I was making something to eat and I had to go, and she didn't care. She just kept talking, trying to juice me for a reading. And while she was talking, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to process this? Because I could get angry at her. Like, lady, listen, you're being rude. But you know what? This is a time when people are going to be unconscious and they're going to want what they need and they're going to pull for it. And that could be very North Node in Taurus. I need to feel secure. I need to know, what's going to happen. So I just kept my mouth shut. And that was practice for me because she said things and I wanted to start to give her what she was looking for unconsciously. So I kind of looked at that, and this is what I was thinking as a Libra sun. How did I contribute to yet another person calling me, asking for something free, and then not paying attention to my boundaries? That's been a big lesson for me lately. People that have been, in my life, and I'm being what I think is not only fair, but loving to them. And then when they don't get what they want from me, they have abandoned me, which has hurt me. So am I going to contribute to that abandonment, or am I going to seek a bigger wisdom to that abandonment? Do I need to buy into it? Something's going on with Libra. Let's see where we're going. I'm sorry to Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. It's not easy to feel that because oftentimes we try so hard to be compassionate and to give to others. I know I tried that kind of thing, but she just was not taking that. She just kept talking. She'd be like, oh, okay, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Libra, we have Indriel as the first card. The second is Fiona. The third is Archangel Raphael. And the final is Desiree. Welcome, Betty. Good to see you. I think we lost Shelley Small. Have you seen Shelley? I've been thinking about her. Cece, you're so funny. That's very, very funny. I got to tell you, honestly, all I can think about is, how am I co-creating this right now? How, after all this time, where's my vibration? Am I so rattled by whatever this is? Because there's things going on that just blow my mind. Like literally people that I think I've been very generous to, and then, they just keep pushing. I don't know. I think I'm co-creating, and that's what's really got me focused. So this is why I'm interested to see, because Indriel is the light worker, and there is the joy card. Fiona is the partner, joined by the partnership card. Archangel Raphael is joined by the wind fairy, and Desiree is joined by the water fairy. So here's the light worker. Indriel is about shining your light on the earth, and there's the joy card. And I want to say this to my Libras. Um, I feel like this joy is not about serving others right now. Maybe this is about holding your light and holding your joy regardless of what other people are doing. Because what I'm finding is that my little weirdness about this whole Three of Swords is people needing me, but all of a sudden not wanting to do the energy exchange of money, which then triggers me feeling not valued, which is a story of my life. So you know what? I think it's time to move away from those things. I think it's time to start to pay attention to what brings me joy. And this partnership card here doesn't feel like it's partnership with anyone else but Spirit. Spirit, thank you for illuminating me, because right now I'm walking through a place where, as a Libra sun, rising moon, and stelliums, I've got Mercury retrograde in my house of partnerships, really making me rethink my friends, my networks. Could it be a time when there are toxic people in my life that I've been hoping would shift? Because there's an opportunity for Libra to have a healing as they look into their own thought process and the things that they feel. We oftentimes feel obligated to the people in our lives, to the friendships we've made, and I tend to make friends with my clients. I don't do it because out of friendship, it's just kind of my natural way of rolling. Because when I go to the final position and I see Desiree saying conditions aren't favorable, and I go to the water fairy, I feel as if there's the potential that Libra has been overly compromising in a way that keeps hoping for something different, that keeps saying, oh, you know what, if I'm good enough to them, maybe they'll be good back to me. And I don't want to take that off the table. But maybe what Spirit is saying is, put the mask on yourself, Libra. Be good to you. Support your own joy. Put up healthy boundaries. Don't push yourself. Because during these retrogrades, I think it's not just about revisiting how we are looking at our partnerships with others, but also looking at the partnership with our own mind and our own thoughts. I've got certain dynamics where, people call me late at night and I want to be there for them. I don't have a husband. I got nothing better going on. And I think to myself, if I had something better going on, I wouldn't be so available. And maybe this is how I've been contributing to feeling valuable in my life. And instead of feeling valuable, I'm somehow eroding that value. 145 Club, I don't ever think it's about other people. I always think it's about me. So when I display a little bit of fiery, Aries energy at people, I'm pretty sure that I'm okay with it. But if I'm going to take the high road, it's not for them, it's for me. Because I'm tired of being victimized by my own low road. Because I can get into a serious victim energy given the right circumstances. So Libra, this may be a little bit of a week where you're feeling a little bit challenged in how people are showing up for you. And I feel like if you show up for you, maybe that'll start to neutralize things, put them in a healthier balance. Again, I talk about the axis as being like a seesaw. And if we think about Aries as all me, 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 and Libra's all us, 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 to the point of really it's all about you and hoping that you will make us an us. So this is about differentiating between the two. All right, let's go into Scorpio. Ooh, now this is fun. This is the card of victory. And I love this card because it feels like there's a sense of pride. There's a sense of conquering in some ways that fire energy that the wands represent. So let's look and see where we're going with this, Scorpio. Because again, when I talk about the South Node being a point of egolessness, where we start to think about, well, is this supposed loss? Is this change in vibration here? Is this because again, we think of the tail of the dragon. It's where something is coming out. Maybe it's for our highest and greatest good, and we don't realize it. Those 2 years after I lost everything I owned were miserable. I I slept on an air mattress, which hurt my back for about 4 to 6 months. I ended up working in a bakery, which I didn't want to do. I felt like I was not evolving. And yet at the same time, without realizing it, there were things and dynamics that were setting me into such a frustrating energy that it was causing me to claim myself. And I think maybe that's what's going on with Scorpio. Maybe the victory comes in I'm willing to be egoless in this situation because the bigger picture of what I want is, I don't want to say more important, but on a higher priority than where I've been. Again, when we think about Scorpio, there's a commingling of things. There's a commingling of our bodies and sex. There's a commingling of our funds with money. There's the experience of loss with Scorpio. And I always kind of think that when we've experienced loss, sometimes it propels us into that ninth house of what do I really believe? And oftentimes you'll find people who, when they've experienced loss of someone they love, it sends them on a trajectory of being more seeking a spiritual reason for things. So there's something going on where I think that Scorpio will experience some sort of victory through their transforming the way they're looking at things. Ooh, okay. So we have Shanti, the angel of peace. We have Indrio, the light worker. We have Yvonne. And then we have Opal. So this is now the third time in a row that Shanti, the angel of peace, has come up. Am I wrong here? I think we're all going to have to adopt a very Zen-like attitude. And then there's the perception card. So there we go, Scorpio. Indriel and the light work. Indriel is the light worker, and then there's the B card. My brain is just really on a little bit of something's going on up here. I'm not having a stroke. I'm just super out of mind. Yvonne is here with the novice. There's going to be some new beginning with vulnerability. And that vulnerability is going to be something you didn't know, which is that you're being watched over. All right, let me offer it this way. If indeed Scorpio has experienced some sort of erosion of some kind as a result of the South Node shifting through your sign, then I want to offer what could potentially structures have been shifted, altered, or even eroded to the point where it could actually change you from and bring more peace of mind, bring an opportunity for you to claim a space that feels victorious to you. Because Indriel is the light worker asking you to shine your light, and there's the B card, and the B card is about victory, but it's also about my being energy. And if my being energy has inadvertently attached to somebody, because Scorpio also rules power and control, and it's not always me perpetrating power and control over someone else, but somebody perpetrating it onto me. And I feel like Scorpio, the vulnerability that it will require for this new beginning, where you start to be aware of what do I want for me, and then start to use the sign that represents death and rebirth, because it is a sign that also can connect with the dead and talk to the dead, depending upon your astrological dynamics. Some are more skilled at this than others, but naturally any Scorpio energy is going to be able to dig deep to a deeper psychological place and motivation. So there may be a bit of a challenge and a burden to truly trust that God has your back while something is leaving your life so something else can be blossomed. And I kind of want to think of it this way, because I feel like for some reason when I look at this Scorpio thing, Scorpio is a fixed sign. And if for some reason you, as a Scorpio, rising moon, sun, or stelliums, have the feeling that I have no choice in this matter. This is how it is. This is, my partner has the money. I can't do this. I can't do that. Then I think that this week would be very, best served by really paying attention to that opposition between Jupiter and Mercury, both retrograde, and giving an opportunity to look at, because Mercury is in Libra, Jupiter is in Aries. And so how can I go onto this axis and be more brave in my willingness to seek out peace by being aware of my being energy, being vulnerable to this new dynamic of me, and then letting God and the angels take over to the point where I'm waiting for some sort of clue, sign, omen, or inspiration. That's what I want to say. Because the other funny thing that I thought went on this week is I have been like literally feeling the seesaw of my life like this. So for the two people that called wanting free readings, that was an anomaly supposedly. And at the same time, I got a whole bunch of referrals. And then of course, Mercury retrograde made them book in a weird way, or still waiting to confirm, but it'll all work out. And I think part of what I'm looking at is, am I willing to be victorious by adopting a peaceful energy, even if it isn't easy to hold my tongue, while God and the angels show that I'm being cared for and supported during this period of time? Because I will honestly say that this, studying astrology at this point and knowing that 19 years ago I suffered a huge loss of my material goods, I can't help but wonder, oh my God, is that going to happen to me again? And, it didn't really happen to me the first time, by the way. Let me just tell you a little story while I shuffle, because the year and a half before I lost everything I own, I had been so pissed off. And I used to say every day, I just want to just start over. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of life. I'm so sick of how it's rolling. And while I had been declaring that, I moved to North Carolina. I was super lonely. I didn't have any friends there. And the friends I had weren't showing up. And I was really in a weird place. And I was really sad a lot and really frustrated. And then I remember sitting in my apartment in North Carolina and looking up and seeing all these fire sprinklers in my apartment. And I thought to myself, holy crap, I don't even have to burn down my apartment for something to happen. What if the guy next door does that? And I got renter's insurance. So I moved back to California and I called the renter's insurance and I asked them, if anything gets broken in the move, will you cover it? They said no. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I move back to California. Everything gets stolen in the trip back. And that is covered by renter's insurance. And I'd never had renter's insurance before. So let me go back and kind of recap this, because the South Node was going through Scorpio at the time, obviously North Node in Taurus. I made a move based on frustration and anger. I did not base it on inspiration, although I thought I was at the time. I just want to change my life. And in that declaration, I built this momentum. I just want to wipe the slate clean. That's what I was saying the whole time. When I had that epiphany, I realized that South Node didn't happen to me. I had been declaring it. And what do we say about words? Our thoughts become things. So when I became aware of what I had been declaring, I started to declare something else. I want to live in Laguna Beach. I want to work for myself. And even when I started working for myself, it started off with me being frustrated and saying, I don't want to have to go drive to a job anymore. I want to be able to be with my dog every day. And those things happened. So I want to offer you all this idea, when you pay attention to that conflict or that opposition between Mercury retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, stretch to see where your conversation, your self-talk is contributing to the frustrating experience you're having. And if you can't shift the self-talk in an authentic way, then turn it over to God and the angels and say, help me, damn it. I need help. Okay, here we go, Sagittarius. Oh, speaking of money, the Queen of Pentacles. Isn't that a beautiful energy? So here we go. We have the Queen of Pentacles offering us, this is very Taurian, this is very earth signs, but I always notice that little rabbit, running into the foreground. So it feels to me as if even more so, there's an opportunity to put whatever I want that makes me feel safe, comfortable, and supported on this earth. There's an opportunity to feel prolific. So let's see where we're going with this. I know. I don't know. Maybe everyone's as hot as me and can't, get it together. All right. Sagittarius, we have Opal in the first position. We have Archangel Raphael in the opportunity or the obstacle. We have Aurora in the angel's advice. And then we have Grace and Antoinette. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Opal is being joined by the hawk. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the spider. Aurora is being joined by the mystery card. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the disruption card. Okay. So I want to offer this for my Sagittarians because your ruling planet, Jupiter, is in Aries. It is retrograde and it is obviously opposing Mercury right now, but I want to offer this as it heads towards Neptune. And I don't believe it. I can't really recall. And again, my brain is not exactly firing in all cylinders. But as it moves towards Neptune, I think this is really going to be an opportunity to revisit some big concepts within our own lives. And I feel when I look at this that I want to really focus on the idea that this is not necessarily in the material right now. There's something about the gaze of the queen today looking down and the way this rabbit is coming in that makes me feel like the material is in process, that something is coming into play. And part of my journey right now, as we look at these retrogrades, is to hold the space for this to be manifested and to allow, this is also, I interrupted myself again, sitting in an unknown place where we're sort of waiting for the baton pass from spirit, as we get used to that rhythm, becomes very powerful. Because during the quiet times, rather than fretting or worrying or trying to micromanage a situation, we can learn how to enjoy ourselves, to relax, to have a good time. Because Opal talks about God taking care of us, source energy. And I believe that part of that is being able to rise above the situation. And then we see the hawk as an 11. And I'm always going to focus in on what is my mind doing? And am I allowing spirit to give me the signs and the omens, or am I ignoring them? Because one of the things that I didn't realize when I was declaring, I'm just sick of everything and I just want to wipe the slate clean, was I was creating the next experience. And while that was a 4-year journey of a nightmare between, feeling the erosion before the move and then the erosion after the move. But once I got past all of that, I really recalibrated my life in a new way. And that's what I want to offer here for Sagittarius, because Archangel Raphael offers a healing within the network and relationships. And I don't think these are personal relationships right now. I feel like these are potentially your relationship with material resources and how they come about. And you may inadvertently been thinking, I've got to work hard, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And now you're going to start to adopt a new way of thinking, this sort of this team effort with spirit. So you get an inspired idea, you start to take action on researching it or fleshing the idea out, and then you sort of hold back. Here we are in these retrogrades. We kind of don't want to initiate anything during a Mercury retrograde. And yet at the same time, a lot of movement can be had by allowing ourselves to do the research, making the choice to stand in a position that seems as if it doesn't make sense in the real world. If to the average person, if you said to them, I sit on my couch and I meditate and I invite spirit to bring me all my clients and resources, most humans are going to think you're an idiot. They're going to be like, you're sitting on your couch, Come on, get your lazy ass up and go pound the pavement. That can be a very resistant energy, because what I think is going to happen is as Sagittarius starts to adopt these higher concepts and actually integrate them into their lives, there could be a bit of disruption. So Spirit is asking you to have compassion for yourself as you walk through a disruption. So when I reflect back on 19 years ago, what was happening in as my South Node traversed my Mercury, my Para Fortune, my Neptune, heading towards my Mars, and then my Sun. I've got a whole cluster of planets on that side of my chart. Am I going to interpret it the same way as I did the last time? Or am I going to use that last time and realize I was co-creating by my self-talk, and then allowing Spirit to bring me signs and omens that I'm going to experience this at an elevated level, and that other people may not understand. I may not completely understand initially, but I will as I stay the course, as I keep my eye on the prize of what I want to create, and I continue to engage Spirit into saying, I need to feel safe in the material world. Help me to bring my sight up. Help me to align my thoughts so that I can feel a healing within the network of my peeps. Because I do think that there is a strong sense of disruption within networks. And I want to offer it this way because, Mercury rules our everyday activities. And frankly, Jupiter could rule your church if you went to church, our church here on Sundays. So if there's some sort of disruption, I think, and this is what I've been keyed into, is allowing for the ebb and the flow versus stacking up any losses or any disruptions. So having a very Jupiterian and compassionate spot for yourself as you're walking through some sort of process. Okay, let's go on to our Capricorns. All right, we have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords, as you can see from this card, is extremely fast energy. And it's a little bit aggressive. It feels a little bit like, I'm taking no prisoners. I'm charging into the scene. And I kind of feel like what's going to end up happening is that we're going to look and see that Spirit's going to want us to slow our roll here. Because this feels a little bit like, Capricorn by nature rules government and authority. And, we're seeing a lot in the media about the shifts in government and authority and the restrictions, et cetera, et cetera. And so there may be this feeling of wanting to just gallop into a situation and sort of with frustration. And I think maybe we need to not do that. Let's see. Our first angel for Capricorn is Bridget. Look deeper into a situation. The second is patience. The third is Opal again. Wow. And the final is Azure. I guess where I'm going to go with this is that Capricorn likes structure, likes to build things in the material world. And there could be this feeling of being thwarted. This feels like a little bit of a warrior energy to me today, as if I'm frustrated and now I'm going to go in and I'm going to just take over. And I'm almost wondering if Spirit is saying, whoa, 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 slow your roll here. And rather than focusing on the frustration, whatever he's galloping towards, let's look a little deeper. What does Bridget want us to look deeper in? Because Azure is telling us our desired outcome will happen in the near future. And so this may be a real opportunity for Capricorn to experience a magical situation, at least to them, because they're so used to working hard and enduring something challenging in order to make something happen. And this may be just the opposite, where all of a sudden you kind of let go of the reins and you relax a little bit, and Spirit starts to bring in an experience, and you're like, whoa, I could never have done that on my own. Okay, Bridget's asking you to look deeper into your relationships and the relationships you have within your networks, within your larger networks. Patience is being joined by the protection card. Opal's being joined by the hawk, and Azure's being joined by the Grail Knight. So Bridget, I almost want to say that I feel as if Capricorn, I feel as Bridget's asking you to look deeper into charging into any sort of situation, even making comments on posts on the internet, whatever may initially make you want to say, hey, that's not fair, or hey, that's out of balance, or whatever. You may want to school somebody. I don't know if it's such a good idea, because I have the patience card right now, which is asking me to observe my own energy. And then I have the protection card, which is a 38, which reduces down to an 11. And then I have opal, and I have the hawk. And the hawk is an 11. So somewhere you get to observe your own mind. The way you're thinking, the way you're speaking, what you're doing is, you may be right as all get up. You may be standing in fairness and justice, and you want to go lob off the head of the people that are not standing in fairness and justice. And I just want to say, please don't do that. Don't engage in arguments that will end up fruitless for you, because Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith, and don't try to force it. And then here's the Grail Knight. And the Grail Knight represents romance and seeking the sacred. But I think this is about illusion right now. That's our middle word, is illusion. And I think that there's an opportunity where potentially Capricorn will see something before other people do. And you may want to take initial action to rectify the situation. Don't do it, because somewhere Spirit is going to bring in something that puts a soft, I almost want to put an insulation between you and your initial reaction, so that you don't find yourself in a position where you're right, but you're wrong, because nobody will listen to you because you've been too pushy, or you've been too Capricorny, or you've been too, I want to say rigid. So give a moment here, because I think this is part of the magic of Capricorn's transformation. And if you're a late born Cap, going with that conjunction between Pluto and whatever planets you have in that late area, I think this is that opportunity to take Pluto and dig down deep into your heart and say, am I assessing this from like my deeper evolved truth, or am I assessing this from an old habitual place? Because that's one of the things I've noticed. My initial reaction to things lately has been sort of from that old place. And then as I sit in it and I'm aware of it, then I sit and I start to shift my energy again into the vibration I have been purporting for all these years. And that's what I think a lot of these transits are doing. They're asking us to stand in observation of an old dynamic, because we have to remember that our old dynamics, the things we were taught as children, the foods we eat, the churches or the ashrams or the temples or the mosques we were raised in, they presented one and given to us energy. So what I want to say is, now is an opportunity for Capricorn to look at those structures, to, rather than just jump in and try to fix things from an old perception, maybe there's an opportunity to shift them from a much more spiritual vibration, which is more powerful. So it's like taking an intention, putting that intention out there, and then again, always allowing for this sort of baton pass between Spirit and myself, because I feel as if that you are going to be victorious, but the victory comes because you did not do this. Susie, I got to tell you, I think overall I think Jupiter is having an aspect here in this retrograde, and Chiron not being far from it. And I can't help but think the United States has its Chiron in Aries in the 5th house. So when these planets start to move forward and we start, in the next year, start to see things moving this direction, we're going to see a lot of people's beliefs shifting. And I think the opportunity that will come is, before, people may have tended to want to use this energy to fix things. They may have wanted to just ride in and then exterminate the people they think are the bad guy. And I think that what we're going to learn here in this evolved age, moving into the age of Aquarius, is that we're going to start to engage spirit so that these things can shift with more balance and less polarization. And that's what I'm hoping we're building here as we stand in this energy every week. We're like little lighthouses, putting ourselves all over the planet, offering a new way of viewing things. All right, let's go into our Aquariuses. Let's see. Okay, Seven of Cups. This is a little bit of a challenging energy. When I look at the Seven of Cups, I think debacle is one of the key words that's attached to it. But we see a lot of choices, and each choice has a benefit and has a challenge attached to it. And it's most easily evidenced here. You know, in war, to be victorious, somebody must die. And the character here really is not sure what to do, not clear. The choices are creating conflict in some way. So let's look and see what's happening, because Aquarius, your two ruling planets are starting to, they're in a tight square. They're within a 1 degree orb. Saturn's now at 19 degrees retrograde in Aquarius. And then we have the Uranus and Taurus. And I can't help, even though it's away from the North Node, those two energies are so loud, so powerful, that I still feel as if that North Node is having some, intense conversation with Uranus, as if it's yelling across the room, don't let Saturn get away with that anymore. And so now we want to see, how's this going to play out? Let's look. Archangel Raphael is offering a healing, a balancing. Indriel, the light worker. Oh, we're looking at inspiration. Akasha, the teacher. And Rosetta. I talk a lot about fear being the seedling for empowerment. And I feel like when I'm looking at this a little bit for Aquarius, all of this double-edged sword energy of the seven feels like it's having a little bit of that dynamic going on here, where I need to seek wisdom out of a bit of disruption. When 19 years later, looking back on that period of time when I lost everything I own and I didn't have a job, and everybody around me that supposedly loved me was criticizing me for following my dreams, was openly talking shit about me, and I felt very defensive. And at the same time, years later, I have revolutionized my life. And while I still have this imprint of that energy, I know I've got a stronger momentum moving forward. So I want to offer this to Aquarius, because there's always going to be some sort of contrasting experience, something that feels a little bit icky or challenging, but it has an opportunity to really push us towards where we want to go, or to offer us that opportunity. So here we go. There we have the novice joining Archangel Raphael. And while Archangel Raphael is traditionally thought of as a physical healer, I feel as if there's a lot more to physical healing than just healing the body. There's healing of the mind, because the mind also contributes to the well-being of the body. So we have the Earth Fairy joining Indriel. We have the cow joining Akasha. And then we have Rosetta being joined by the Fear card. Okay, so if we look at this Seven of Cups, and we look at the square that's been going on, and again, Uranus and Saturn not moving too quickly, so this is going to go on, and it feels like it's been going on and on and on and on and on and on. And yet, each time we walk through it, we have new opportunities to realize, or to look at, or to engage spirit to show us where we're sitting in that old energy without even realizing it. I was well aware of the laws of attraction. I was well aware of my spiritual path when 19 years ago, when I was declaring, I just want to wipe the slate clean. But I had not really synthesized that. I had not really synthesized the power of my words. So now for my Aquariuses to synthesize, to have that epiphany, offers you a new beginning. And these feel like skills without practice and awareness. Because again, here we have the Indriel, the light worker. And I don't know if, light worker gets this term like it's something warm and fuzzy and fairy like. A light worker has a really hard job on this planet to remember who they are while they're walking through so many challenges. And if for some reason you've been feeling anxiety, because we have Archangel Raphael, the physical healer, then we have the physical healing in here. I want to offer it this way. If you're feeling some sort of anxiety, because Aquarius rules the nervous system, you may want to ask yourself, am I indeed, am I following my truth, or am I following a version of my truth that still leaves me with 1 foot in my Saturn energy and 1 foot in my Uranus energy? And this going back and forth might be driving me crazy, because I can't land in any way. Because in the angel's advice is Akasha, the spiritual teacher, and there's the cow. And the cow is about nourishment, abundance, asking and receiving. And there's a part of me that makes me feel as if between the cow, the earth fairy, and Archangel Raphael, there could be a feeling of not feeling really safe, or there may be something about your material resources where you're coming back and forth between feeling viable and not viable, both within your physical body and the surroundings around you. And because we end this with fear, and we end this with Rosetta. Rosetta is about parenting, teaching, guiding children. But I think this is your inner child. And I think that the fear card may be a little bit about walking through this new version of yourself that is untried, not practiced. It's still sort of a concept in your mind. I want to offer it this way. You guys, for about 1.5 years, I did this show with an abscess, and I had a lot of conflict between believing that abscess needed to be handled by a dentist, or could I really heal myself following the medical medium's protocol? I am not telling anybody to do what I do, because I believe everything is a vibrational thought process. So as you start to allow for the thoughts, your vibration in relation to those thoughts creates your experience. So what I did was I just kept staying the course of what I thought would be all right. I kept engaging spirit. And then I started to actually feel this course correct. I started to see that various levels of focus. There was a part of me that as I was walking through the healing process, I kept looking, are you better? Is it better? Is it better? Then I got to this place where spirit said, don't look at it. Let your intuition tell you if you're feeling better. And then I stopped thinking about it altogether. And then I realized after about 6 weeks that the abscess hadn't had a moment, and then it completely went away. And I want to offer this because it was not comfortable. I was scared. It was during COVID. I wasn't sure how to handle the situation, but I kept going back and forth between asking spirit to really lead the charge. And so I feel as if when you're willing to take inspired action, when you're willing to ask spirit, Aquarius, where is my anxiety coming from? Is it coming from me not honoring a deeper truth? Or is it coming from me knowing a deeper truth is bubbling up within me? That as I focus, as I give myself my Aquarian energy, that Uranus energy, to sort of take Saturn and say, all right, we're going to rewrite the rules. It may not be easy. And now fear is going to be the thing that actually makes me feel strong, because I'm going to face everything and rise. I'm going to start to identify false evidence appearing real. And frankly, for me as an individual, I have a great I shouldn't say fear. I have a great awareness of the music that is put on the background of these drug commercials. And then I became aware that those same songs were playing in the market while I was shopping. All those songs from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And as I became aware, I realized that I'm getting subliminal messages. And do I want to continue to give into the fear, or do I want to be aware of it in a way that says I'm not going to fight it? I'm just going to allow my own inner strength to flourish, because I really think this has something to do with Aquarius, feeling a push-pull between a new part of yourself, an old part of yourself. I feel like anxiety could be coming up, or a sense of nervousness because of the push-pull. And as you become more aware of, I need to take care of what's important to me, I need to allow for at least opening a space in my heart for spirit to start to show me that this is a viable avenue for me. And then it feels like spirit will start to allow you to stand in that rebellious yet revolutionary energy that you have to offer, that really sets a tone for a whole new way of approaching life. Okay, let's go on to our Pisces. What a moon that was, huh? It was so interesting because here in California, where we have that hurricane, I think it's Hurricane K, I can't really remember. And there was no moon last night. It was all covered up. It was so dark and humid. Hello, Cookie. Welcome. Did you see my cute dog? Where did he go? Oh, no, just call me C. I hope you feel better soon. I don't know where my dog went. I hope he's not licking his paws. All right, here we go, Pisces. Oh. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Ten of Swords. Not the easiest energy. Drama, drama, drama. Drama, 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 drama. Let's see where the drama's coming from. Because this full moon could have very much illuminated something where you've been deceived, you've been disillusioned, somebody's ripped your rose-colored glasses off and thrown them in the gutter. Bye, Lammy girl. Hope baby feels better soon. All right. Our first angel is Rochelle. The second is Serena. The third is Zana. And the final is Oceana. Now I'm starting to wonder for Pisces if there isn't something going on where something dramatic is actually going to turn out to be something better if you allow yourself to follow your heart versus your head. Oh, there we go. All right. Rochelle and the Baird. This is, it's not always easy for Pisces to follow their heart because their heart is so compassionate that it can inadvertently get very caught up in somebody else's drama. And I feel like the Baird is talking about drama that is historic. So you might be thinking to yourself, I really need to disengage from that human right now. They're just, talking about their problems so much. They're just, here I am. I've been evolving. I've been more aware of my thoughts or things. And now this person that I love is just so engaged in their victimhood and their drama and whatever's going on. And they have been so used to me listening to their drama. And oh, my dear God, I don't want to be involved in their drama anymore. Because as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, I think prosperity is coming to you. But I never see Rochelle as money. I see her as wealth in the form of peace of mind, trust in the experience, being able to see things from a perception of spirituality versus victimhood. I can't help but put it that way because the human tends to put things in black and white. And as much as I enjoy listening to so many astrologers on YouTube, so many of them inadvertently go black and white, which I think is why I have this rebellious way of being when it comes to astrology. Because when I look at Serena, I can't really go to material abundance. I feel like the serenity that's being offered, the alchemy, the justice and the balance that's being offered comes from the Neptunian energy being able to calm down, being able to truly connect into the spiritual side of seeing if indeed there is some erosive energy that is being perpetrated here, if there is some sort of drama that is indicating that I am walking through an old story that I no longer want to walk through, and what can I do about it? I don't want to go to war with the people involved. That's not my natural way of being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it over to God. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just going to hold healthy boundaries. And this is what I want to say. Everybody and their mother has caller ID right now. And if there's somebody who's dramatic in your life and you feel like you have to pick up that phone, honey, do not pick up the phone. Because if you feel a have to coming on, then either it's going to leave you feeling slimed and leave you feeling drained, or it's going to end up in drama, because the wind fairy is offering you, or the Xana is offering you protection from thoughts and things that may not be serving you. And that is going to come through serenity. That's going to come through not my monkey, not my circus, okay? Because that's what this opposition between Jupiter and Mercury could be bringing up. I had a very good friend. For 25 years, we were like this, okay? And as I became more aware of my spirituality, and my Aries anger started to turn into Aries passion and its willingness to be a pioneer and I'm going to start to own my life. And what am I thinking? What am I speaking? What am I doing to contribute to my life? This person that was my best friend for so many years didn't think like that. He was like, no, I don't create my life. Things happen when that shit happens. No, it doesn't happen. We are all co-creators. This started to create a huge disconnect between us, to the point where the friendship had to end. And I didn't necessarily want it to end, but they could not evolve. And I could not tolerate their victimhood anymore, to the point where this person, okay, this is how absurd it got. This person lived in an apartment building. And he moved from an apartment number 1 across the hall 2 feet to like apartment number 3. And he fretted for 2 months that the mailman would not be able to get his mail to the proper box. Absolutely ridiculous to me. Okay, because there's something about this that is going to feel absurd and absurdly dramatic. So what I want to say is Oceana is asking you to swim up to your highest vibration, to allow yourself to break through any illusions, to find the strongest part of yourself. And that strongest part of yourself is going to come from your heart, saying to yourself, you know what, is this a historic thing? And have I inadvertently allowed people to have these conversations with me? And while I did, that was at a chapter in my life when I thought I was actually being a good friend. And now I understand that if I give in too much to their drama, it's not good for them, because that person literally was so worried about the mailman being able to find the box 2 feet away. It seemed so absurd to me. And this was the other thing that happened, because the reason he moved from one apartment to the other was because there were kids upstairs and they were pounding on the floor, and single people, after a while, you just don't really like the sound of the pitter patter of little feet on your head. And so I told him, and again, I was just becoming aware of my intuition at the time. I said to him, if you're not careful, you guys are going to get into a violent altercation. And he is not a violent person by nature. And about 6 months later, he and his neighbor were holding each other by the throat in the alley, fighting with each other. And it scared him. And this is what broke up our friendship. Was the more I became authentic to my intuition, the more drama came up that I could no longer deal with. Drama that I saw was a co-creation. And so I feel like Pisces, while this may not be easy for you, being aware of the more spiritual side of yourself and allowing yourself to kind of move past, like, okay, not my monkey, not my circus. God bless you. I love you. I'll talk to you when your vibration comes back in balance. I love that, small wildflowers. I love it. EDI. EDI. Okay, let's go on to our Aries. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Again, today is a day when Jupiter and the moon are hanging out in Aries together. And it's interesting to do. Today is 9/11. All right. Ooh, Aries transformation. The death card is never about death. It's always about a rebirth. It's an opportunity to look deeper into a situation. And one of the things as an Aries rising that I always sort of wrestled with was when I would get angry. For a long time, I didn't have a real good filter at trying to be diplomatic. And so I kind of appreciate at this point, this death card to me feels very Platonian. It feels like if I dig deeper into my heart's going to say, are you worth my fight? Are you worth my anger? Are you worth me feeling fiery right now? But let's see, because maybe there's something more going on that meets the eye here. All right, here we go. Aries, our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Ray. And the final is Archangel Uriel. You know, I want to offer this for my Aries because I'm an Aries rising and I have my Mercury in Scorpio, which is, you know, all good. And yet unconsciously it can be a little challenging because one of the things I've noticed, I don't know if all of you are in the United States, but ever since Mars went into Gemini, the amount of violence, the amount of crazy people driving on the road, having police chase them because they stole sunglasses at the sunglass hut. I mean, there's so many crazy things going on. So I feel like Aries, when I look at Archangel Gabriel, the first thing I think is this is an opportunity to transform how you yourself talk. Unstable new beginning in the form of the novice. Archangel Michael's being joined by the raven. Ray's being joined by the forgiveness card. And Archangel Uriel's being joined by the focus card. Okay, so I want to offer this because having Chiron going through Aries, you know, you may not, I only have my rising sign in Aries. I don't have any planets in Aries other than that. But I feel as if having Chiron in any house is going to have a conversation. And I think that this particular conversation is how are you using your passion versus your fire? And I think this is an opportunity to really look at my self-talk and then to look at the novice as an opportunity for an unstable new beginning. So let me kind of revisit the lady that called me last night and, you know, at 6 o'clock at night, it was like 9 o'clock at night, wherever she was. And I feel like my awareness during that conversation that weird shit was happening. Like, you know, like, why are people calling me and asking me for free stuff? Like, what's going on with my vibration? It is not to judge. It was not to villainize me in the situation. It was more about, am I revisiting something about my own value? And if indeed I am revisiting something about my own value, then maybe this is a deeper opportunity for me to value myself. Okay, because here we have the novice, unstable new beginning, skill without practice. So as an Aries rising, one of my skills without practice is not chewing somebody a new one. You know, when I've gotten mad in the past, I used to think if I yelled at you, you would go away. Well, sometimes what I did learn as I got older is you yell at people, they don't go away, they circle your life. And it was like crazy. So this is where I'm going with this because I kind of have to laugh. Do I have the courage to be accountable, Lucy Rose, for where I've evolved to? Do I need to go back and pick the bones of that skull again? Oh, those people didn't find me valuable. Oh, those people tried to juice me. Oh, this, that. You know, I kind of feel like as I see this interesting, it started with in like whenever that, I think it was the end of July when I had that sciatica, it all started at that point when my vibration went off. They raised my rent again, which they never have done before 2 years in a row. So that put me in a little bit of weird scarcity. Then I got sciatica out of nowhere. I've never had it before. And there was this kind of rolling of things. And I kept seeing my mind going deeper and deeper into not good places. I'll put it that way. Because it also said to me, okay, now is even more time to align with spirit. Now is even a bigger time to say, okay, I'm walking through an old story again, deeper layers of feeling not valuable. One of the shadow sides of Aries is it feels alone. And instead of being a wimp about it, it gets angry and it gets like, fuck yeah. And I shouldn't laugh, but I feel like they also, at least I do, participate in my aloneness because I see myself wanting to be in part of groups and then not even liking the people in the group. That's not fair to say, but I'm just going to say it kind of round up because I think this is a really good opportunity for Aries to look at their self-talk. And if somehow you aren't walking through an opportunity to be more courageous in looking at where you're picking some bones that don't have no meat on them anymore, because as you connect to spirit and you realize that your real power comes from connecting to spirit. What is the truth of my heart? The truth of Aries' heart is it's a dang hero. Okay. And everybody on the internet wants to call you a warrior, but dang, if you don't go to war, our freedoms are being taken away. So we need to reframe this stuff. Okay. So Aries, this is where you really get to reconcile who you are and how you want to show up. And that's when the death card becomes amazing because this is an opportunity to really look if your anger serves you or if it's been tripping you up. And I absolutely believe that focused thought creates, and I don't want to take focused thought that's out of balance and turn my whole life upside down like, oh, I can never have another negative thought again. But what I can do is look and see how much life do I give to all those negative thoughts? How much life do I give to an old story that made me angry where I was unseen? And now I get to let that die. I get to let that die. Oh, thank you, DJ. Singing Bulls. I bet that's just what a beautiful way to have your day. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses. I think there's a lot of revisiting going on here. And I think sometimes when we have been, quote unquote, working hard to evolve, we can tend to villainize ourselves when we have not quote unquote been perfect at the implementation of our new self. But again, just like the accesses on the zodiac wheel, we're going to swing back and forth between the two, and we're never really trying to sit like this because this is boring. So as we tip back and forth between the higher vibrations of both those options, we have an awareness that allows us to be powerful in our co-creation. Okay. All right, Taurus, money, money, money. This is the card of have-nots and haves. This is will the universe bestow upon me, and what will I be? And it's interesting to me because the scales of justice are sitting above the beggar. And well, they both look like they're begging. And there's a part of me that thinks about what is this guy concentrating on? What's he thinking about? And I tend to think, oh, will he help me? Will he give me money too? Because apparently this guy doesn't have any concerns about it whatsoever, because this man's total focus is here. We see the six come down like this. They're not in balance. So I sort of think that this is an opportunity for Taurus to really look at how much life am I giving to the things that make me feel insecure. If we look at the housing market, if we look at going into the physical food store and seeing some of the shelves empty and the prices going up and gas going up, it could really trigger us in ways that speak to a dark history for humanity. All right, let's look, Taurus. All right, our first angel is Serena, the angel of abundance. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Daniel. And the final is Azure. Thank you. Just call me C. I know yelling is so relieving, and I still want to go to a rage room, even though I don't have as much rage as I used to. I think it would be fun. Okay. I also think drag queen bingo would be fun too. Okay. Serena and the perception card, Taurus. Then we have Archangel Michael and the movement card. We have Daniel and the Queen. And then we have the Hawk and Azure. All right, this is what I want to say because I've been talking this whole broadcast about, people calling me and asking me for free readings. And me really just, rather than looking at them, thinking to myself, how did I track this in? Where's my vibration? And I got to tell you, I've not felt secure lately. I can even look at my calendar, see a full week of appointments where I used to be like, oh, I'm good. Now I'm like, and I think it's partially the stars. I think it's partially, how these things are lining up for me right now, because I've got Pluto squaring my sun, Pluto squaring my ascendant, Pluto squaring my Mars, Saturn on my Chiron. So I sit in this awareness of this and at the same time struggle with the serenity of my abundance. Taurus, this is all about, will you be a have or a have not? And part of that is your ability to be serene in the situation, to trust a bigger picture. And the picture is not that you'll somehow get a job. The picture is that you're an abundant person, that because you focus in on the idea that you're a receiver, that you don't have to go work for it, that it comes to you. I'll never forget, I had this gal come into my home one day, client, walked in as nonchalant as you can possibly imagine. And as she walked in, she's like, I won $200,000 in the second chance lottery. I was like, oh my God, jumping up and down for her. She was very nonplussed by the whole thing. And I got to tell you, she had appreciation for the money. I'm not going to say that, but it was so interesting to me to watch her vibration, because there was a part of her that felt natural that she received that money. Now, I want to say that for Taurus, because the second chance lottery is not like the regular lottery. It's where you register the tickets, or there's scratchers or something, and you register them. And then once the game's completely over, there's a second chance to win. So she had these tickets in a drawer for years, I think. And a few days before she got the notification that she had won, her husband had opened the drawer and said, can we throw this out? It's just clutter at this point. She's like, don't touch my tickets. Leave my lottery tickets alone. Because I think what the big deal for Taurus is, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, is to have a perception that money comes to you easily and often. And as you are courageous, you'll know you're protected. Movement will appear. There is a real history here of you getting to learn how to receive money. And I want to offer, because this is a partnership with Spirit, that as you relax, everything you need will come to you. This is the other funny thing. When I first started working on my own, I kept finding money on the ground. I found like $60 one day, rolled up, crumpled on the ground. I walked in the market one day and found like $5 on the ground. And I even tried to go chase someone down. I thought it fell out of their pocket. And the guy was like, oh, that's not my money. So I got to tell you, you never know where some things are going to happen, because your desired outcome, security, feeling like you have plenty of resources, is going to happen. And part of it is you being able to rise above the current situation of things and know that you're a vibrational being. And that as your vibration aligns with serenity, then you will find the resources that you need. It will come to you. Just call me. See, I want to shift that. You get to play the lottery again, because this woman, I have to tell you, I think the main reason that she won the money is because she had no resistance. She didn't go in there going, I need to win this money. And she just likes to gamble. That's her fun thing to do. She enjoys the process. So I feel like it was her serenity, her like whatever, and then just holding a line and doing what was meant to be done. If she had never registered that ticket, it never would have won. And the other thing about the lottery, I don't know, this is about 6 months ago, I was in a Starbucks, and there was a guy that told me that he finds dead lottery tickets all the time on the ground that he wins money from. I can't remember how he said he did it, but people tend not to look at their tickets. So if indeed you're going to start to play the lottery again, joy should be attached to it, and excitement, a throwaway energy, meaning, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. And then when you do win, you could say to your people, I'm on my lottery dream home. Because you know how many people have to win the lottery in order for there to be a television show about it? So it can't really be that hard. It must be a vibrational alignment. I know it sounds weird. I'm a weirdo. Nope, she wasn't counting on it at all. In fact, it was just play money. And she never spoke of it again. That's the other thing that kills me is like, if I would have won, I would have been screaming it from the rafters for months on end. She mentioned it one time. And I couldn't help but just see her vibration so huge. It was like she could care less. And so it came to her. So funny. Okay. Gemini, the Three of Pentacles. This is a contract with work. This is Capricorn and Mars and Capricorn. That's what it represents. And there's some sort of opportunity to, well, small wildflowers, this could be why I'm talking about this for the first time in 4 years. Who knows? Maybe you'll win some money. But this is Mars and Capricorn. So this is an opportunity to feel a sense of teamwork and a solid contract of some kind. Let's see where this is going. Gemini, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Azure, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. Rosetta in the opportunity or the obstacle. Daniel in the angel's advice. And Omega. I don't know if my Geminis are looking for new jobs or some sort of contract work, but it looks like there's an opportunity for that to happen. Good. And when you all win money, please come in the comments and tell us how your vibration made you win. Okay, Azure is being joined by the Love card. Rosetta is being joined by the Dragon. Daniel's being joined by the Owl. And Omega is being joined by the Deer. You know, when I look at this, the first thing I think is that Gemini's maybe gone through a situation or a period of time when maybe they didn't feel so appreciated at work or within their how they're being of service to others. Anywhere there's a money exchange, I guess I would put it, you know, like when I was first pulling the cards, I got this feeling of my new landlord. You know, it doesn't seem to be very, very cooperative. I don't know, maybe it's my imagination. Seems kind of like a bad guy to me, to be honest with you. Never really had a conversation with him. And I feel like this is an opportunity for Azure with this Love card, feels like an opportunity to feel more appreciation within the work dynamic, or finding a position or starting to create a position where you feel appreciated. And when I say creating a position, I want to offer it this way. You start creating it in your mind, meaning, okay, here we have a Mercury retrograde opposing Jupiter. There's my monkey mind telling me I've had this job. I need to stick with it. Times are hard. You know, gas is up. And then there's Jupiter saying, well, wait, maybe there's this whole other opportunity when I connect with a bigger picture of prosperity during hard times, or being able to find a good job, or within my own work, having people start to appreciate who and what I am. Because I feel like this Rosetta is about retraining people about your calm, cool, collected ways. And in some respects, you may have not appeared calm, cool, and collected because as a Gemini, you're a thinker. So you may be trying to get information or having to provide information for those around you. And at one point, people have been like, hey, you need to calm down. We're all good. But it's actually serving a greater picture, because Daniel's the angel of marriage and history and partnerships. And there is the Owl where I go back and forth. And I feel like there's the potential that if indeed you want a new job or you want a new position within your old job, that your willingness to kind of look at what you would love, what would make you feel better, what would make you feel more purposeful, because there is a strong feeling of Gemini not pushing things right now to the people around them. Again, we have Mars and Gemini, so we don't really want to rub up against our teammates in a hard way. But I feel like as we demonstrate diplomacy and gentility in a time when potentially others won't, there's an opportunity for advancement. It's almost as if I feel almost as if when I look at this, there was a potential that either Gemini was underappreciated or taken a little bit for granted within their position. And then maybe this Mars in Gemini is going to expose some of the more crusty and volatile energies of your coworkers. And as you remain calm, cool, and collected throughout the situation, I feel like one of two things could potentially happen. If indeed you're looking for a new job, you may actually find a new job that's much more in alignment with what you want and where you feel more appreciated. Or this could be a turning point in your position where people actually start to realize, because of all the other people around you being disruptive, what benefit they have from you being here. Because Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future, and love feels like it's about appreciation, like people appreciating me and the team player that I am. And with this feels like it comes as a result of being gentle and diplomatic during times that are a little bit volatile. Congratulations, CJD. Enjoy your new class. Okay, let's go on to our Cancers. Okay, for our Cancers, we have the Hermit. The Hermit's about reflection, and reflection that offers illumination. There's also an interesting feeling because on one school of thought, the Hermit can represent the Virgo energy, but it also represents the Saturnian energy, father time, a sense of history. And I can't help but notice the cold atmosphere here. And I think it's because I have to sort of be willing to look at some of the parts of my story where I've purported energies that have left me feeling cold or left me feeling I guess I want to say disempowered. I don't know why I want to put it that way, but let's see. Because Cancer, those, especially late-born Cancers that are feeling that opposition to Pluto, this is an opportunity to reflect on the things and the energies that you have inadvertently walked through, continued to walk through, and still kind of think things are going to change. And I think maybe we got to change from the inside out. We can blame Neptune. We can. But does it serve us to blame anything? Because Neptune, again, for me, when I look at the spiritual side of things, I feel like Neptune in its loss energy is asking me, am I willing to lose something that feels dependable but doesn't really serve me? And that might be something for Cancer. Azure, you're flying high right now. Don't descend. You will soon inspire others. Merlina's through confusion. Fiona is about inspiration from God. And then there's Rosetta. We have Aurora being joined by the horse. Merlina being joined by the love card. Fiona being joined by the butterfly. And Rosetta being joined by the bee. I want to offer this for my Cancers because the Hermit is not about action. It's the very opposite. It's about reflection. It's about meditation. It's about not judging yourself, not crucifying yourself. There's no regret attached here. It's just observation and allowing Father Time to enlighten you so that you don't have to walk the same cold path. Now, here I have Azure saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future, and the horse is here. The horse to me is a very spiritual Sagittarian energy. And when I look at this right now, I can't help but feel like Cancer is all about home and hearth. It's all about nurturing, not just others, but myself. And I feel as if when I look at the love card in Merlina, Cancer very much has wanted to commingle. to love on others and to be loved. And this confusion card, it feels to me, would be because I've been resistant to go in a new direction. I've been resistant to start to open things up a little bit. And Fiona is saying, now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receive. And then we have the butterfly. This is very Platonian. This is where the caterpillar dies so the butterfly can live. So I feel as if there's the potential that if you reflect on your love life, you may not be, and I want to say this, when I say love life, I'm not just talking about intimate partners. I'm talking about how you receive love, how you process love coming towards you. I don't think this is about giving love, because I feel as if Cancer would reflect a little bit, you may actually feel more love in your life than you have. If you start to individualize each person or each situation, offering something different. This is where that Sagittarian energy gives me an opportunity to see things from a higher perception, to become more connected to sometimes Neptune, and what appears to be loss is actually offering us a new beginning. DJ, I don't know if you were watching when I was talking about when I went through my last South Node going through Scorpio. It went over my Neptune, went over my Mercury, and I lost everything I own, all my material possessions. But at the same time, it was a very liberating, and it was an experience that allowed me, if I was brave enough, to become the butterfly. So I want to offer this because I think for my Cancers, it's really an opportunity for you to have a childlike innocence about what victory really looks like. Because if for some reason this reflection you've had says, why does my road have to be so hard? Why do I have to wait so long for love? You know, Saturn is a journey, man. And while Saturn offers reward, it doesn't offer reward right away. It wants that hard work, wants to see your determination, wants to see your willingness to persevere. So having that childlike innocence and going in a new direction, that's saying, you know what, maybe how I've been processing all this love in my life has been from an old platform. And as I evolve, I'm going to feel even more depths of love, because I'm not just loving other people, but now I'm feeling loved. And I'm not just feeling loved from other people, but I'm feeling loved from myself and love from spirit. Okay. All right. I think that's it for that one. All right. Let's go into our final sign, Leo. Oh, yeah. Don't blame yourself for other people. That's part of what would happen with this. This opposition small would be like an opportunity to really reflect on Mercury, blaming yourself for how other people show up. And then Jupiter allowing you to transform that into a much more broadened thought, and to not do that anymore. All right, Leo. Here's an opportunity to follow your heart if I ever saw one. The Fool to me is a very Mars energy. It's funny because in one of the books I study, they want to call this Uranus, and I don't see Uranus ever. There's no lightning, there's no disruption, there's no unexpected events. In fact, I'm not sure that this guy isn't willing to fall off the cliff for what he wants to experience, which is why he is traveling so light and taking such a rocky terrain. So let's see where our Leos get to be a bit of the Fool, because I think that the Fool might be that I'm just foolhardy enough to believe in myself, where everybody else says, oh no, you need to pound the pavement, or you need a job, or how are you going to do that? And you're like, I don't really know, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go on an adventure. I'm going to travel light. All right. Let's see. Because traveling light to me is never about luggage. It's about this kind of luggage. Because I also love the way this guy's carrying his little flower. It's like, you know what? It's all good. All right. Archangel Michael here is about the courage to make changes. Maya is about study and education. Crystal is about things you can't see, but you can feel with your heart. And Fiona is about Now that you've asked God and the angels for help, are you willing to follow their lead? So you're learning about things of your heart, Leo, that you rule, following your heart without hardcore evidence, without physical evidence just yet. And if Saturn is opposing you right now, God bless you, because it's never fun and it's never easy, but it does have reward. Archangel Michael and the forgiveness card, Maya and the perception card, Crystal and the love card, and Fiona and the goblin. So what I want to say here for my Leo is that I really believe that that following of your heart is why you are the ruler of the zodiac. I really believe that in the wisdom of the ancients that put these philosophies into place, the following of the heart was the truth of the human experience that got marred and got aberrated and got rewritten in Saturn, in the age of Saturn, the age of Capricorn. Because I think this is about having the courage to actually reconcile where you've been, to allow yourself to be a fool as you go on a journey you've never been on before. Because I think what that journey is paying attention to your own perceptions and how your own perceptions are contributing to your experience. And while I have always believed that, it has become more and more in my conversation as of late. I'm more truly aware of when someone calls me and wants a free reading, how did I create that? Because I'm starting to love my journey of the unknown. And I think, Leo, this journey of intention, this journey of creation through intention, through what you love, is where you're going to start to truly succeed. Because one of the challenges that people talk about with Leo is a bit of a boastful energy, a bit of a, I guess it's been said that Leo can take all the air out of a room. I don't necessarily believe that's true. But what I do believe is there's the potential that while you might have been nervous about moving forward, you might not have felt protected lately because Saturn in its opposition might have been making you feel insecure and unsure about any movement. And yet now we have an opportunity. Now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And here's where you get to see, oh, maybe I've been edging God out this whole time. Maybe I've been inadvertently micromanaging things. Leo is such a strong energy. Again, another fixed sign. And while Leo rules the heart, it's also kind of vulnerable to its heart's desires. It wants the audience to applaud, and yet at the same time, it doesn't want to depend on that applause for its value. So I think a little bit of this is about going through this willingness to go into new uncharted territory, where my courage to walk into that new territory gives me some sort of reconciliation that makes me understand without self-judgment or regret or self-criticism that I might have been participating in my lack up until now, but I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to do that anymore because now I can trust an experience of the unknown. I can trust a journey of intention versus action. And in doing so, I am opening up to God and the angels giving me a new experience. And then I realize where my ego serves me and where my ego gets in my way. Because I think that the biggest crime of the ego is not a boastful energy, but a feeling of aloneness. I got to do this on my own. I got to make this happen. I've got to work hard. The most powerful energy you can do is set an intention and then take inspired action. And inspired action and then working diligently on your inspirations is how things get manifested. So I think that there's a real newness coming in the sense of perception, in the sense of reconciliation for Leo, understanding that I'm not a big fan of the unknown. But when you do, just call me see, when you intend versus looking out as if something's going to happen to you, it changes the whole dynamic of the unknown, because it goes from unknown to just not experienced yet. Oh, it's coming to me. I know it's coming to me. I know that when I stand in this, what other people may think is foolhardy energy is actually super powerful. And I'm going to end up demonstrating for the world that I didn't make this happen. I allowed it to happen. That's it. My observation of through my work is that oftentimes people want something so badly, and the law of attraction kicks in, and they start to bring in the alignment of what they want. Then when the alignment starts to show up, it can trigger a fear. And then they start to overmanage the situation, try to come at it from a very human do perception, which inadvertently is a resistant energy. So I think that's what Leo's going to be able to identify within themselves and then stand in a place of more balance. And let me offer this for Leo in closing. If you find yourself in that in-between place, do something fun. Go to a movie, do the crossword puzzle, hang out with your friends, go play tennis, go take a walk, take a nap. I don't care, whatever you find pleasurable, because through a pleasurable activity, inspiration will come. All right, that's it for this week, everybody. I was going to try to make this a short broadcast. Apparently, I'm incapable of that. I want to thank you all for being here. I love you tremendously, and I appreciate your loyalty and your showing up every week. So hang in there, and see, I love your comment. It is just it really gives me this sense of freeing the mind a bit to travel a little bit lighter. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hopefully this heat will have broken by then.